I want to turn to the issue of drag queen story hours, and just get into what you think the motivation behind the left pushing for them so hard is. I mean, you have videos going around of 5-year-old boys and girls putting dollar bills in the thong straps of grown men. These sort of perverted, half-naked men wearing dresses, and there's toddlers acting like they're at a strip club, and then there's parents who brought their toddlers to this thing. What's the motivation of the left for pushing the importance of drag queen story hours and things like that, drag queen events for children, and what's to be done about the parents who bring their children to these events?
I don't have to tell you what my speculations are about their motivations, because thankfully, for whatever reason, they can't help but do these things. They wrote an academic paper telling us what their motivations are. I actually read it as a podcast. You go on the internet.com or whatever, not that website specifically. If you go on the internet and look up groomer schools for drag queen story hour, you can find the podcast on the New Discourses platform, where I actually read the entire paper out loud and explained what it means. So they tell you in their own words. They say in the paper, for example, that they deploy the idea that it's about raising empathy for LGBT people as a marketing strategy. But the actual strategy is to give children opportunities to learn how to, and I quote in italics, live queerly. So their agenda is to use, they actually call it a drag pedagogy, a drag theory of education. They say that the drag pedagogy is based in the idea of a generative themes model. They use the drag queen as a generative character. This is something that's deep in the critical education theory or critical pedagogy approach, based off of the work of the Marxist educator Paulo Freire, Brazilian guy, Freire, is how you pronounce it, I think, in Portuguese. And so he said that when you do education, that it should be based on generative themes, which are themes that evoke emotional and especially politically motivated responses that are supposed to stimulate the desire to learn more. The Drag Queen Story Hour people have told us explicitly their goal is to motivate people to want to engage in queer activism, to see themselves and to possibly live queerly, to introduce as a generative concept, as an emotionally relevant and resonating and politically activating idea, to move the children into the idea of living queerly. They say in the paper explicitly, for example, so for those parents, what should be done about them? Well, they're endangering their children. So we should treat them like parents who are endangering their children. How do we know they're endangering their children? Aren't these family-friendly events? Well, they say in the paper, we say that this is, I'm not kidding, they say this in the paper. We say that these are family-friendly events, and maybe they are, and that family members like parents and grandparents are welcome to show up, but we also mean it specifically as family-friendly in terms of the word family, which refers to your queer family that you find on the street after you've left your home. So the goal is to separate you from your parents and to adopt you into a queer family. They end the paper with their true motivation. The last sentence of the paper says that they, and I quote, "We're going to leave a trail of glitter that you'll never get out of the carpet." So they want to put queer Marxist ideas deeply embedded like glitter in the carpet into children's heads so that it might sprout into them wanting to live queerly, which means to become non-conforming in terms of gender, sex, sexuality, or mental health status, and then to become activists against the existing society on behalf of that identity. So what's their purpose? That. I don't have to speculate, I don't have to guess what's the left's motivation. They tell you. This was written by the drag queen Little Miss Hot Mess, a stage name, I don't know this man's real name, and a trans educator by the name of Harper Keenan. And it was published in Curriculum Inquiry, which is a very big, actually, curriculum journal in, I think, 2021. And so this is a deliberate project. And again, what should be done with the parents? They tell you themselves that they're endangering and indoctrinating your children using the drag queens. So the parents who are taking their children to these things, A, should be hopefully made aware of this, given a chance to desist from this behavior, which is harmful, deliberately harmful toward their children, intentionally harmful. In the paper, they tell you they're lying about what their agenda is to sell it. They should be made aware of this, given a chance to desist, and then treated like anybody else who intentionally, once they've been made knowledgeable about it, acts in a way that is harmful to their children.